Sup, my name is Ryu for the Yugioh Welcome to Guide to Your Side, your Sunday video, where today we talk about deity. Anyway, we're going to be talking about deities, and there are a Pendulum Fusion Synchro Exceed deck. They do everything and more in a bag of chips. They're going to be getting some more support, but we're going to focus on everything that they'll have come January, and everything that they'll be complete with. So I'm going to give you all the no's, all the ways to stop the deck, and what you want to know when you go against the deck, because I've done a lot of fucking research for this one. So let's get underway. Obviously, I mentioned that they do use scales, not completely all the time, but they do have a lot of spell cards that are going to get them what they need. Anti-spell fragrance, everything goes face down. They're not going to be able to use anything. Twin twist, full house, pick your poison, whatever you want to destroy back row with, and go at it. Combine it with the anti-spell fragrance, you're slowing them down, and they won't be able to play as fast as they typically do. But of course, as always, anti-spell fragrance is usually looked upon as being just a good turn 1 card, or having established before your opponent establishes their board. But I'd like to make a counter argument to this. If you can break the board that deities like to set up, which way they want to do it, because they have like 30 different ways, and if they make one mistake, usually they screw up. But that's not always the case. It always comes down to a little bit of luck. If you could break the board and set up an anti-spell fragrance, then you can lock them out from activating anything for a couple turns and slowing down the game state into a way that you need that time or whatever you want to do to establish against your opponent. So that's something to keep in mind, that's completely possible and doable. So one of the key aspects to this whole freaking, matchup is breaking their boards. They will establish a very strong board turn 1, and they can do it twice over, usually with the resources that they'll get with the 5 to 6 cards that they'll open with. So if you're able to break their boards, you're able to literally stop the deck from playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And you will get advantage to win the game state. Now, how do we break the boards is pretty simple. One of my favorite ways of doing it is Kaijus, because Kaijus destroy everything. So Kaiju Sea Turtle and the Kaiju Interrupt Kaiju Slumber, if I'm saying that correctly, because I don't have the card in front of me, you use that after... Okay, this is going to sound stupid. So what you want to do is, if there's number 38 established on the board, you want to use the Kaiju Sea Turtle and focus on the number 38 first. You could break the board with Dark Holes or Raigekis, but we're going to focus on Kaijus and the Slumber card for the moment. Now, after the number 38 is off the board, or if it's never there, play the Kaiju Slumber, and you completely demolish their setup and all their extra deck cards that they wanted to summon against you. And by doing so, you give them the low Kaiju, you take the high Kaiju, and you smash them in the face. Now, you play Anti-Spell Fragrance, because I want to utilize what we already established here on Guide to Your Side, and you'll be able to lock them out from activating anything and have a powerful monster on board to steal away life points. Life points matter. Enough said. They do a lot of searching, so Mistake is also a fantastic card. Not the best card, but like I said, Mistake is another option that you can use. And you don't want to allow them to set up. So Anti-Spell Fragrance, Mistake, and this next one goes alongside with that whole theory of don't allow them to set up if you can. If you gain that advantage, don't allow them to come back with it. Terra Beast. It's very simple. You should know it by now. It's got a lot of spell cards in the deck. They do run traps. There's a lot of spell cards. And the Terra Beast also hurts other meta decks that are out there right now, outside of Pale Talk. So you want to basically, if your deck can bring out a Naturia Beast, then you want to make sure you can do that. That's why Zodiacs have such a great matchup against things, because they can drop a Naturia Beast if they really want to. So that's something to keep in mind as you don't allow them to set up. We're going to be going back to that. You also want to negate their summons. They're important summons. There's quite a few of them, which is, you have the level 1 Pendulum monster that they'll usually summon that has an effect. If you effect Valor that, Solemn Strike it, you're taking away their aspect to search. Now, granted, they have 30 other ways of doing it, but you take away one of their ways, they may not have it that turn. Vanity's Emptiness is a fantastic card that you should already be running if you're playing competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Just my personal opinion, that is the most important card to be running right now, is Vanity's Emptiness in any shape or form. Shadow Imprisoning Mirror is also fantastic as the deck runs dark monsters, and anything that runs dark monsters gets pooped on by their effects. Now, there will be a small margin of D&D players that will say, I can counteract that pretty easy because I just bring out big beat sticks. Good job. But for the majority, it's going to slow them down. Combine that with something like Anti-Spell Fragrance, it's disgusting. And Shadow Imprisoning Mirror also works on an already established board and helping you break that established board. Vanity's Fiend. Never allow them to summon. Simple and easy. Winged Dragon Raw Spear Mode. Take away everything they establish. Don't allow them to have it back. And then you won't have no problemos. Now, if number 38 is not on the board, we mentioned this before, Dark Hole and Raigeki. If it is, ladies and gentlemen, that's when you bust out the Skill Drain. You flip up Skill Drain, and it seems weird that you would go, Skill Drain's good against this deck? Yes. Because you're stopping number 38, which allows you to play the Dark Hole, the Raigeki, or the Kaiju Slumber, which will, wipe out the board and allow you to establish your own and take precedence. I also like Lose One Turn for the same fact that, hey, I can nullify something and it goes to defense mode. It gives me time to deal with it, goddammit, and it slows down the game state. Now, that's not one that I really recommend, but it is something you can use. Now, I also want to mention Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. Even though it doesn't negate, it doesn't target, which is fantastic when you want to get something off the board. So even if the effect will go off, you're getting rid of it. That's the main That's the main focus. Now, I kind of want to shift gears again and focus on the skills and their most important spell cards. They're ones that are going to allow them to search or to fuse or to negate stuff. There is Cosmic Cyclone. Remember how I said a while ago that this was actually fantastic because it jumps around stupid stuff like Stardust and whatnot? Well, just saying, if they ever decide to make a Stardust, because goddamn knows they can bring out Synchros and they can bring out crazy shit, you can use Cosmic Cyclone. Just saying, if they ever want to, because, you know, they want to try to counteract what you're doing. There's also Twin Twisters for dealing with those pendulum skills, as you typically should be doing with Twin Twisters already. Lava Golem is something I usually bring up in these guides to your sides whenever it comes to breaking boards, because honestly, and let's be completely 100% honest, it is a good budget option. However, if you can, it is still outdated, and I really do recommend the Kaijus. Now, if you feel more comfortable getting rid of multiple threats, and you want to get rid of 2 of them, not 3 of them, then Lava Golem is still a great option. I'm not going to deny that. But giving your opponent a 3000 beat stick that can swing at you is kind of scary, to say the least. But that's just my personal preference on it. Now, I will say this much. 2 of my favorite cards to go against this deck, because there's a lot of my favorite cards to use against this, but these are personally my favorites. Quickie Mirror Force, because when you put shit face down, that shit's staying face down. When that stuff's face down, your established board can stay there until I'm good and ready to deal with it. And then I could just focus on the back row, sniping it off, and I could just establish my own big board and go from there. It's one of those cards that they should see coming, but sometimes players don't. They just swing at it. And I'm pretty sure there's probably one deity that works like Utopia the Lightning, where if it swings, it's gonna, your opponent won't be able to activate anything. Draw the Mirror Force, everything goes back up into the extra deck or to the hand, whoever the case may be. But you know what? You're still dealing with the problem. You're slowing them down. You're not letting them OTK you. Macros, Cosmos, and D-Fissure for the stuffs that they want to... The things they would like to use in the graveyard to synchro summon, to fuse, to do whatever they wish. You could just completely get it out already. And they won't have those options in the graveyard. I think it's a fuse. But, goddamn, the deck is complicated and I haven't mastered everything. Being completely honest when I say that much to you guys. I know how to counter it, I just don't know all the combos. There's Fossil Dyna plus Moon Mirror Shield and Protection if you really want to lock out your opponent. And if you're playing a elemental deck that you don't want to get affected by Fossil Dyna, there should be a barrier statue for you. And as long as it's not dark, it's a good option. Now, there's also Effect Veller, and I want to take the time to explain the whole Effect Veller play here, which is one of the cards you need to focus on in this matchup, and it's not just Effect Veller, this goes further than Effect Veller, is Deity Perform It. Negate the summon or the effect of this, and do not allow it to go off. I believe, if I'm not 100% mistaken here, or if I incorrectly say it, someone correct me in the comment section. This is the one that allows you to actually hit certain ranks. By summoning it, it's a level 4 monster, you can make it go from level 1 to 8, and then basically it makes another deity the same level, and then you go into that. Something along those lines. The point is, this is a scary one because it's going to allow you to just go, allow them to go into a rank 8 or whatever, and you don't want that going off. Stop the summon of that. Do not allow it to resolve. Do not allow it to somehow find a way to resolve. That is one thing you absolutely want to focus on, so the next following cards are to help you against that. Besides the Effect Veller, it's Floodgate Trap Hole. Putting it face down until you are completely ready to deal with it is a fantastic way of handling it. And the final card that I will mention, because breaking your opponent's board or allowing you to jump over it, is Book of Eclipse. Number 38 has a one-turn effect. Once per turn effect. Yes, it's scary. That can suck out a spell card. But just remember, it's like totally awesome where you only gotta get it to negate one, and then you can get rid of the rest. And that's when you put the Book of Eclipse after the negate the... Well, actually, play the Book of Eclipse, then play the Dark Hole, because that way you get everything off the board into the graveyard. If you have the Macros Cosmos, you can see where I'm going with this. Those are the best options for you. There's probably a few more. If I left anything off, make sure to leave it down in the comment section below. If there is a guide to your side you would like me to do in the upcoming weeks, make sure to put it in the comment section below, and I'll make sure to cover it. I already have something planned, but I am unsure if we're actually going to do it next week. We may do something completely else. Depends on what I'm actually feeling up to doing. Not in terms of I'm sick or whatnot, just in terms of what is completely ready to go and become a guide to your side. Just remember, these guides to your sides are directly trying to be made for you, so your feedback is always grateful and appreciated. So thank you for taking time out of your day. Well, I can't apparently speak English, not enough coffee, 10 out of 10 says IGN. It's like too much water. Anyways, I'll see you guys tomorrow for more Yu-Gi-Oh goodness, and you guys have a good night, and I'll see you then. If you enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe for more, drop a like, and drop a comment because it helps with the YouTube algorithm, and I'll see you later. Peace!